And ladies and gentlemen, we are live! Ascension Esports Elder League week number 7. My name is Desrooks, and joining me on the cast, the Latin lover so smooth he made it to the finals in the clutch competition. He is Rafa! And brother, we're only 3 weeks away from playoffs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I was honestly caught off guard by the introduction there. I'm a little bothered right now, but you know what? I am super excited to join you on the cast. Senor Beltran, for those that do not know, Desrooks is a closet Latino himself, so if you have not heard his accent before, it is quite glorious to listen to.
Yeah, but that's enough about the beauty of our accents. We need to get into the game, and we're getting into the Champion Select right now. This matchup between Omega Huntington and SPK 0.
Absolutely. And so we're taking a look at the bans right now. Jinx ban coming out right away from Omega Huntington, and they're going to answer with the Swain ban. So far, the Jinx ban is a little confusing for me, as it is definitely not something that we have seen in higher tiers of play. You normally see the marksman picks like the Varus, like the Jhin, like the Kaisa as well. But Jinx is one of those, I think, sleeper marksman can be, if it is given the time to ramp up and snowball. If you pilot a dive correctly onto the bot side of the map, get Jinx a few kills, just the Stormrazor first purchase is enough to get her ramping. She takes turrets really fast with the minigun passive, and the get excited passive allows her to get resets off of fights as well. So, you know, unfortunately we won't see that of the game, of course, but after the Blitzcrank, Diana, and Kaisa bans, we do have the Darius as the first lock-in for Omega Huntington, and they're just kind of flying through picks and bans right now. Everyone knows what they want.
Yeah, it's almost like they did a pro draft before the matchup, you know?
Oh, no way!
But yeah. Hyping up that first ban, I'm very proud of you for that one. But getting into the way these drafts are going so far, you are starting to see that the focus for OMG is straight up aggression, as they're going with a very early comp. The RE provides with a lot of room. Graves, one of the best duelists in the game. And Darius is Dario Chopman. What more could you want?
Man, I just want to see this Darius start dunking on some kids. I hope he has the basketball jersey skin. It's the only good way to skin to go. I guess the God King Darius is a good pass as well. It looks fancy, but there's nothing quite like the Harlem Globetrotter Darius.
No, not at all, and we are going to hit the second phase of the draft. Taking a look over at SPK 0's side. We're starting to see a little bit of early aggression plus some team fight presence, and that Varus is really going to lock that in.
Yeah, it's almost a shame that they didn't have the ultimate Freljord team composition for the side of SPK 0. You already have the Sejuani and the Lissandra. You got that Ashe in the marksman bot lane, as well as the Braum. It's pretty much glacial in every single ultimate name. But Mars, even though he did receive some early game nerfs on his base health, it is now 498 instead of 549. He still scales incredibly well. The Lethal Tempo Keystone is a great way for him to go as well if he optimizes into that on-hit build, or if he wants to go for the Arcane Comet poke build, he still can. But looking at the overall draft of the composition, since it's more team fighting based, wait a second. Wait.
I am waiting a second, and I am thrown off by this. Pyke and Nami.
Wait, that makes no sense.
That's a top lane Pyke.
Top lane?
That's a top lane
Pyke. What the? Wait. Okay.
This slipped us for a while. I mean, they were picking an order, and we just didn't notice this.
Oh my god. That is the... I'm just so wow. Well,
shook.
I can attest that None W Friends on this Darius is probably thinking, wait, am I actually fighting a Pyke top lane right now? I don't even know if, like, even pro players have played this matchup as Darius into Pyke, let alone None W Friends. So he's probably thinking, okay, I still should be able to beat him, right? I mean, I would imagine that the sustain advantage is still there for Darius, unless Pyke can successfully take trades and then dart back into the bush and get the healing from his passive. But you know what? I think it's best to not focus on this too much. We do have to look at the overall draft of the composition for the side of Omega Huntington. They do have more winning lanes. You have also a very aggressive jungler in the Graves, and riding off of the pressure that Jhin and Leona will be able to have on this Varus and Nami, because even though that Nami will give a sustain advantage for Varus, one of the things you have to keep in mind is we go back to that early game health nerf to the Varus. 50 health down, it means he is much more squishy. And if Leona, Drew Storm on this Leona can lock him down with the Zenith Blade into Shield of Daybreak, hit him up with the Ignite as well, Jin hits him with the Execute on the 4th shot, I mean, you cannot disrespect that type of all-in damage. And so we have to look to this bot lane to see how explosive it could be for Drew Storm and AB, and then if Fethmis Marin can play off of that pressure, and if this Darius matchup still works out, since he does have the Ignite against this Pyke, he can always play towards the top side as well and start invading on this Sejuani, who will not be able to take a man with a cigar and a shotgun right up to her face.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a lot of ifs. We don't know how Pyke's going to play into Darius, and we can only assume that, you know, Darius is meta for a reason in the top lane and Pyke is not, but stranger things have happened, and that could be his pocket pick right there. But also, to go back to the bot lane, even though the Jhin Leona is so engage heavy, looking to just fight it out right from level 3, not getting proper all-ins really can cost this in the long run, especially because they're sustained there and it's a ranged versus a melee. So don't hype up the Leona too much, because it all depends on that first Zenith Blade. If it lands, then yeah, it's time to go to town on this bot side for SPK. But if it doesn't, then you can get poked out before you can find the next one. But on that note, we are going to have to take a moment to take a short break. When we return, we will get into this matchup between Omega Huntington and SPK Zero. Stay tuned. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind the music. Had some spectator issues. Unfortunately, Rafa is dealing with that at the moment. I just got mine cleared up, so we're going straight into the game. Already 2 kills down. Omega are looking pretty good as they're 1 kill ahead. But yeah, getting into this game, trying to give a recap of what happened. A little bit of mid lane focus. Looks like a 1v1 Prophet. Able to take down Ivar. But meanwhile, on the side of Omega, they did find luck in killing Budget just a couple seconds ago. They also found luck in killing Rapidash in that top side. So, nothing too special to come out of this top lane pike just yet. But only time will tell, and we shall see. But yeah, here comes a little bit of a pincer move coming out. Looking to get onto Vosloo, but he does have that dash, able to get over the wall. Can't quite pincer that just yet. But Vosloo didn't really obtain too much out of it, but he did get a very, very deep ward in. And that ward right here, that's pretty crucial. You can't underestimate that type of vision, but look at that. Out goes the charm. Denies the use of the claw, and it's looking bad for Prophet as he drops to Fethmus. And a nice pickup there in the mid lane. A beautiful roam to come out of Drewstrom. But once again, here we go. None on that top side. Bullying Rapidash quite a bit. Rapidash does get some healing back using the passive, but it seems like he just can't really duel, and especially against someone as tanky and hard to deal with as a Darius, who has his own form of sustain. You can't help but to question the choice to go with his pike pick in the top lane.
Yeah, it's almost like you never see it in the top lane. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also loading in ever so slowly, but I am just finally hyped to actually get in here. And just want to make sure I am with my buddy Desero. I think the game's lying to me. It's telling me that it's 1 minute and 19 seconds right now, but I see Sejuani clearing her wolves, so I think that is still correct.
Yeah, she is. So I'm pretty sure we're good now. I'm pretty sure we're good.
Yeah. Small indie company, by the way. Can't
Small
fix spectator bug,
company.
so feels bad.
Yeah, but so far Omega are putting on a pretty good performance, and it's directly looking to play to what their win condition actually is in this matchup, and that is early aggression.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We talked about this in pick and ban phase. Fethmus Marin on the Graves definitely is someone that can bully around the Sejuani, who is more of a tank jungler, someone that can either set up strong ganks if Fethmus Marin isn't there to counter, or just post level 6, use it for the strong engagement tool with the Glacial Prison, try to get things started, paired up with the Chain of Corruptions from Varus and the Tidal Wave from Budget Stripper. It's a nasty amount of disengage or engage, either one that you can pair with. And then it's also a really great pick tool with Prophet of Tears on this Lysandra. The Glacial Tomb as well can also lock down any priority target. And since Ivor is on this Ahri, who is a very mobile champion, especially once it has Essence or the access to the Spirit Rush at level 6, definitely you want someone to lock down, so you can point and click with the Frozen Tomb and then combo that with the Glacial Prison as well. It means that Ivor's not going to get anywhere.
Ooh, I like this method coming out of Rapidash. Able to get the hook in, pull him towards the tower, forces the flash out. It is costing him a lot of mana, and it's going to be questionable if it works out. It all depends on Decimate's landing, and there goes one right there. A lot of health back. Nun's going pretty hard on it, puts the ignite, but Rapidash is going to survive, but not for much longer, as Nun is able to take down Rapidash in the 1v1.
Yeah, Rapidash was trying to use his passive by getting out of vision, but the problem is that Ignite also gives true sight of Rapidash 0, so there is nowhere he could even go. Even if he was inside the bush, the Ignite would have been his downfall from that. So just great smart play from No New Friends here, being able to unintentionally take the right summoner for this matchup.
I've been calling him None. I just realized that is No New Friends. Today I learned.
Yeah, finally.
Success.
Like, I was reading that as None W Friends, but now it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, but
Meanwhile,
Zenith Blade is going to land a lot of damage going off onto Budget, who's able to get off a good chunky hill and stay alive, and they're looking to turn this around. Meanwhile, towards that topside jungle, looking to break out a fight, going back to the bot side. Drew in a lot of pain. The ultimate comes out, but X does not mark the spot. That spot being Drewstom's death.
well, Pike Top did something, boys. He came bot lane after said, you know what, top lane is lost already. I can't do anything about it. Tries to go in, does force the flash from Drew Storm, but it's pretty much all he got. And since he's still down about 20 CS and he has to take the long walk of shame instead of opting into using his teleport, he's going to be even more behind in this lane.
And not to mention the tower health on the top side. They are looking to try and make some worth out of it, but no new friends. No new friends. Not going to fall for that little rotation. They know Prophet is no longer in that lane.
I'm just still puzzled that if Rapidash Zero, did he take like a side bet from someone? Did someone say, yeah, you can't play Pike Top? It's like, no, I got you. Week 7, we can throw this game. This is, I don't know if we got to talk about scores here. Dusterux actually, Rapidash Zero might die here.
Very, very low. Took a lot of damage from that, but he's going to be able to survive. Kind of sticky. But here we go. Rotation going up towards the top side. They're setting their sights on No New Friends, who wants to turn this around. He's getting damage in. He goes for the dunk. Can't take down Rapidash. Loses his life, but the response coming out from the side of Omega as they set their sights on this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to commit 5 members just to No New Friends on the top side of the map, Blue Team says, or Omega says, you know what, we can just get a Mountain Drake for free. You can now rotate that 4-man unit to the bot side of the map as SPK Zero, they're trying to race here for the first blood turret.
Yeah, this is pretty close so far. Fethmus, he was pretty late coming to this, and this looks like it's going to cost Omega Huntington, who went over for the Gromp instead of going for the race, and that is first blood tower going out. It is stretched out between 4 members, so it's not the biggest deal. It's not going to overpower just one person, but instead they're going to continue this base race.
Well, with the Mountain Drake on their side, they should be able to beat them out here. No New Friends has to deal with... I'm not even... What was that tidal wave? Hello? What?
Not really sure. I feel like No New Friends could go forward on this one and just delay it for the sake of an inhibitor push.
Yeah, the most part, he could just try and stop the recalls right here. There's a teleport coming in from Rapidash Zero just to protect this.
Yeah, but it's the wrong place to go right now as he's forced to run away. Out comes the curtain call. First shot is going to miss. Fethmus pushing forward, but he's not able to find thanks to that stealth. They're still setting their sights towards this inhibitor tower. SPK, you may have pushed up too far. They can't find the recalls because the aggression coming out of No New Friends is going to work out. The Decimate almost gets the outplay. A lot of damage on the Prophet, and it does seem like they're able to take that inhibitor tower. Omega Huntington just outright out-moving SPK Zero.
Yeah, macro-wise, they completely outplayed SPK Zero here. At first, it seemed that was a kind of a misstep from Fethmus Martin for not joining in for the first blood turret right away, but then they capitalized on top saying, well, we got Mountain Drake, boys. If you really want to rush us down with 2 marksmen in AB and Fethmus Martin versus just the 1 marksman in Kiloagon, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, we don't need to be math majors here, unlike our Professor Beltran here, but I mean, if you got 2 ADCs versus 1, I mean, come on. Plus Mountain Drake, that's going to easily win out the race for you. And they barely got second tier turret for the side of SPK Zero, whereas they were already taking the inhibitor turret. And with that, that's going to be a huge amount of pressure. No New Friends can definitely translate over to the bot side of the map, creating constant pressure, pulling more members. If he pulls another 5-man members, at this point, we're not quite at Baron spawn time yet, but they can easily transition over to this Rift Herald.
Yeah, overall, great plays to come out from Team OMG. And now they are starting to set priority towards this top side. Bot side pushed in so much. So they have no problems really baiting it out down here. And then possibly sending someone bot side like No New Friends. Try and get a split push, possibly take out that inhibitor. No teleport does make that kind of iffy, but No New Friends looking to catch Rapidash Zero, who was able to dash away and stay alive, but it was a huge chunk of health to go away.
Yeah, Tidal Wave was used, so definitely worth not even using any ultimate abilities from the side of Omega Huntington, in addition to no sums either. So without the tidal wave, that's another form of disengage, but you still have the fight through the glacial prison. You still have the fight through the chain of corruptions and the frozen tomb, or Lysandra ult. That is, yeah, frozen tomb. I was saying glacial tomb the other, but you know what? Glacial, frozen, they all mean the same thing, just slightly different on the vocabulary, but they're still poised around trying to defend this mid lane from the side of SPK 0. We have Fetsness Marin just trying to clear up some jungle camps on the bot side of the map. At one point, they really just need to run it down mid, and they're going to go for it.
Yeah, they wanted to take the engaged solar flare, didn't predict the movement of the claw. So this is going to be a 5-man attack onto this tower. They could melt it quite quickly. You need a response to come out of SPK, but they're coming in too slow. They're trying to make the moves too slow. That turret critically low. They're starting to back off now, but out goes the glacial prison. Lands onto Drew, who is able to stay alive, but here comes Rapidash. He's set up to get reset city as he finds Drew with the ultimate. That's 3 down for SPK 0.
Oh my god, Rapidash 0. This pike pick wasn't good for laning phase, but you know what? The actual ruse of it all is that it's just a team fighting, reset, killing machine. He just found the flank on the bot side of the map. They had vision, but they just completely chose to ignore it and focus down the mid turret. But we have AB trying to interrupt the Rift Herald right here.
Yeah, this is pretty risky to do. Rift Herald already getting critically low, but so is Valso. They do claim the Rift Herald. AB playing it forward. Tidal Wave going to come out. They're going to land it onto AB and take him down. Take that gold with them. Flashing over the wall as Ivar gets a charm, but it's only to disengage, and that's a huge pickup for SPK.
Wow, just AB just not respecting the tidal wave coming up. That unfortunately they didn't account for the glacial prison, the frozen tomb. Those were 2 ultimates that was used at the mid turret, but you have to remember that tidal wave was used preemptively about a whole minute and 20 seconds ago as well. So when they went to check for the Rift Herald, there was like, oh yeah, Nami didn't even use tidal wave in that whole mid skirmish, and then just didn't respect it. And the beautiful thing on top of that, Rapidash 0 comboed the Bone Skewer to pull him right into the tidal wave for that double knockup. Oh man, that was actually disgusting.
Yeah, and this is what you want if you're SPK. Omega are so strong, especially when they hit that 20-minute point, and they can just bully as they please. Not having a gold lead is definitely going to cripple that type of tempo they can put on in the mid-game. And now we're starting to see these advancements, these very strong plays come out of SPK, and they're playing it beautifully.
Yeah, and the huge problem that you're seeing from the side of Omega Huntington is that they're not respecting the amount of disengage and counter engage that they do have, and we might be able to see a pick here.
No kidding about that engage. They're looking for Drew. Over the wall comes Rapidash, finds one. Hook City lands again, looking to get Fethmas. He's not going to be able to run away from this one as he drops to Kahlua, and that's 2 more kills picked up. SBK are playing like they want to go to playoffs.
Yeah, the real problem for Omega Huntington's composition is that you have this Leona great form of engage and the great form of pick from Ahri as well. You can Spirit Rush and look for a charm, but the problem is you don't have any ways of disengage. You have no peel. Once Leona goes in, she's just stuck there. And once you have all these counter engagements coming from the side of SPK 0, what are you supposed to do? Jhin is just a walking 4th auto bullet machine, but he can't really do anything to disengage a fight by himself. He's not Ezreal, he's not Lucian, doesn't have low mobility or low cooldown mobility dashes in his kit. The only real person that can get out of sticky situations is the Ahri and the Graves here for Fetsmas, Marin, and Ivor. Other than that, the rest of the team is just... I mean, they'll just get clipped by any of these massive CC engages that SPK 0 has.
Yeah, it's really engaged city for them. When it comes down to it, Omega have to play on their terms, and when they back off from Rapidash, I feel like they're giving him way too much respect, because that is a squishy target, and it's a prime target at this point. Look at the items he has. He's going straight for damage, and he wants to amplify that and get his team going. So they got to set their priorities. If you're Omega, don't be afraid to take him down, but that priority in the mid lane does give them the mid lane tower, give them a little bit more control over the map.
Yeah, we still have to look at who really on the side of Omega Huntington is in the lead, as now there is a 2k gold lead for the side of SPK 0 before Fetsmas Marin, and he still is leading Vosful or Vosso. Am I reading that right? Voslo? Jesus, the text seems so small.
Voslo.
But this, yeah, Voslo. just about 1,000 gold up, and it definitely makes more sense for Fesmus Martin as he has much faster clearing speeds. He has higher damage output, so he's able to just run through these camps super quick. But I mean, when you're Vosslo, in this case, as Sejuani, as long as you can just hit your ultimate and be beefy enough with such a low econ efficient build, then it doesn't really matter how much gold Fesmus Martin is above you if he's not able to actually carry these fights.
Man, this is a lot of tension here for Omega. They got the Rift Herald poised to take down that mid lane turret. Huge chunk, able to take it down. Does look like they want to follow it towards the second tower, but Omega have something to say about it. They're able to take it down. Out goes the charm, gonna last on the Vosslo. Solar Flare lands onto 2 in the dead center. Now Drew is deep in, but there's not much backup coming in. Drew has to flash away. Fesmus critically low as well, and Prophet! What an absolute beast with that glacial frozen tomb. AB trying to get some redemption, but with low health bars, they found the kills they needed to. Stay a little bit too late. Prophet gets destroyed. There is some vengeance for Omega. They're looking to push forward once again, but that's gonna disengage the fight. Looks like a 1-for-2 exchange. 1-for-1 exchange, actually. Prophet getting the better of that, but the follow-up just wasn't good enough.
You're absolutely right. That was exactly the name of the game between these two teams. There wasn't any follow-up. Drew Storm landed a beautiful solar flare onto the backline. Kil'jaeden and Budget Stripper were basically prime targets for Ivor to be able to assassinate along with Fesmus Martin. But the problem was, at the same time, Vosslo threw out the Glacial Prison, forcing people to pick and choose between walking through the 90% slow field or just re-engaging and going for another fight. But they don't really have any other ways of engaging, whereas SPK Zero, we go back to this. You still have the Frozen Tomb, you still have the Chain of Corruptions, you still have the Tidal Wave to go back in, and it was just trying to dance back and forth, and then Prophet of Tears, on top of it all, found the perfect situation to get a 4-man Frozen Tube and full combo rotation. But even though he had a lot of burst damage, Kil'jaeden just could not walk up either. And so both Drew Storm and Prophet were put in situations where they had such great engages, but the team did not have the confidence to actually walk forward and follow up.
Yeah, and it's a lot of give and take. This shows you that Omega Huntington, they have the mid-game team comp we were talking about. They work really well at this stage of the game. And even though SPK were so far have a pretty good lead running for them, they have to be careful with the way they play. They can't just brute force it like they're looking to do right here.
Could have almost gotten an Ivor there. I believe he did use the Spirit Rush there. So that is one ultimate use just for a Glacial Path from Lissandra, so definitely worth for himself. Ivor, Spirit Rush will be down for about another 60 seconds.
A lot of damage coming in. So does the Tidal Wave. Budget gets critically. Out comes the Solar Flare. 1 down, and that's going to be Fesmus so far. That's 2 too far forward. Rapidash speeds in to get 3. Can we see 4? He's on fire right now. That is a quadra kill picked up by Rapidash as he falls heroically for SPK Zero.
Destruct, what the hell just happened? Rapidash Zero bringing out Pyke top lane, loses lane horrifically, but it doesn't even matter. The team fights coming out from SPK Zero are being played so well. Engagement upon engagement, layering of the CC, locking down priority targets in Fesmus Martin and No New Friends to start off the whole shebang. And then once those two are down, they're the beefiest members that also pose threats. Drew Storm, he has a lot of CC, but all he does, he just goes in and he engages and locks down people. But if he doesn't have the damage dealers to follow it up, and we have to mention that Fesmus Martin and No New Friends, they're really the only two people that were ahead in the game at the beginning, but now that lead has evaporated. You are looking at a 9-3 Pyke in Rapidash Zero right now. Duskblade, Tiamat, and he's bought a Frozen Heart. Wow, okay. Well, you know what? The Frozen Heart, I'm questioning that item right now. It is a lot of armor. It is CDR, which is pretty pretty damn good for his whole kit. That's a lot of damage!
Prophet gets dropped. Rapidash gets a hook, but you don't want to fight this one, friend. He's running out of there. Curtain Call goes out as well as the tidal wave. And some priority onto this Infernal Drake. Definitely something worth fighting for. Omega Huntington take control of that area.
Well, Omega Huntington do get the pick on the Prophet of Tears. There was just a lot of damage coming out from the Charm. Remember, if you haven't seen Ari in a while, they did change it to that the Charm is a damage amplification source, 20% on all of Ari's preceding damage once she lands it. So at this point in the game, at being level 11, she does have her full 9 points into her main damage dealing spell, Orb of Deception. He's actually maxing the Charm second. I just realized that. I've actually never seen that before, as it does not increase the damage amplification, but it has more base damage, and it slightly increases the Charm duration by 0.1 second per level. But I mean, it's working, so we'll have to see how that pans out for these later picks.
Yeah, it's working when they do find the picks, but getting into the now, SPK 0 positioning very aggressively, looking to get those wards into the jungle of Omega and possibly start a Baron dance very soon. They do have a comp that works well with picks, that works well with team fights. It's just a matter of getting that vision and letting Omega Huntington walk into your trap. But instead, it looks like Omega Huntington are the ones setting the trap as they force the flash out of Kahlua. Vossloh running away from this one as well.
Could have been a scary situation for Kahlua, but did flash as the Solar Flare was coming out, so great patience from him. Definitely would have been pretty awkward if he flashed and then Drew Storm then capitalized with the Solar Flare. Would have been a sitting duck. But now without his Flash Burst is even more susceptible to another pick. If Ivor can work with his team and get this continued vision control on the top side of the map, as both teams are looking to Baron as their next neutral objective, the one-shot potential from Ari is there. She does have Luden's Echo, Penetration Boots, and then Haunting Guys is actually a curious buy. I thought she would have gone for an Oblivion Orb for just straight-up more penetration. But if there is a constant amount of team fighting, then the Leandry's Torment, which has now been completed, will do the percent max health damage and does have the damage amp over time. So Ivor just needs to strategically use the Spirit Rushes, not instantaneously try and build up those stacks. Then maybe you can look for a Charm, 20% damage amplification plus the total, I believe, 10% of, 10% maximum more damage from the Leandry's Torment. That's 30% more damage coming out from Ivor if he can get a full combo rotation once he's in combat for 5 seconds.
Something to know here, there's a little bit too much attention from Omega going towards that bot side. We almost saw 3 members go towards those minions, and while SPK haven't really made them pay for it just yet, it does give up pressure on the Baron side, and that is the main objective at the moment. Getting vision around Baron and setting up a potential Baron pick into a Baron take. So Omega, they need to be careful with this positioning right now, and honestly, one of the key things about this, to continue this a little bit more, is there's no teleport on No New Friends. He went for the straight aggression lane.
Yeah, that was the next thing that I was going to bring up as well. The fact that he took Ignite, it did win him the early laning phase, but we see how little that early laning phase victory meant as Rapidash Zero picked up all of these kills and now is sitting at 9-3. If he had the teleport, he would have been able to split push, apply pressure much more strategically with the rest of his team, and then if a fight ensues or breaks out, then he can teleport to the other side of the map. But fast miss.
Here comes the fight coming out. Out goes that Frozen Tome, but it's looking pretty bad for Prophet, who gets dragged over the wall. And there's the double stasis, but not even 10 stasises could save you from that. As the push forward, they're looking to take down Ivar. They find him. Kahlua critically low. Out goes the collateral damage. And this is looking like Omega Huntington's fight as they push forward. And this gives them a potential chance to possibly go after that inhibitor as they take down Budget Stripper as well. They're continuing the dive. They want to fight as much as they can, but Rapidash Zero able to dash out of there, able to stay alive, and what a power play to come out from Omega Huntington.
Yeah, the crucial thing about that whole engagement was they get... Ooh. Okay. Okay, good flash from Drew Storm, being able to get away from Rapidash Zero. But the crucial thing about that whole fight that started out was that Prophet of Tears thought that he had the pick on the Fethmas Mar, and he did have Voslo right there as well to follow up with the Glacial Prison. But as soon as he went over the wall and tried to use the Frozen Tomb, Fethmas Martin surprised him with Ivor and No New Friends right there as well. And they were able to capitalize, force him to use the Frozen Tomb on himself. And then Ivor, even though Prophet flashed over the wall, he timed the charm right on the very last tick of the frame. So it still charmed him, even though he casted the flash spell as well. Ooh. They're going to try to rush Baron right now, though.
Yeah, that is a counter Baron attempt. They saw the recalls. You saw that. Rapidash saw 2 recalls go off. They're going for the counter Baron attempt, but it can't come out fast enough. They do use the Glacial Prison onto Ivar, who takes a lot of punishment. Voslo trying to run away from this one. Snared up is Fethmas. Chain of Corruption's going to go out. Drutin gets that Zenith Blade, but he's all by himself. No New Friends. A little bit too far off, but SPK Zero don't want a chance, and then they choose to back off.
They did force the flash out of Voslo on the Sejuani, so that means he cannot be as aggressive if he wants to look for a counter engage as Omega Huntington. They want to push up. They want to take this advantage right now that they do have, trying to go for this second-tier turn on the top side of the map, but Vethmas...
Yeah, Vethmas gets hooked in, but he is going to be alive. He's safe for now. There wasn't enough follow-up to follow through. But Omega Huntington, they got their eyes onto this top side tier 2. Question is, can they really push forward? They can't really find it without a pick, but speaking of pick, here comes Prophet, who's able to use the Frozen Tube on himself, and this could be the chain that we're looking for to come out of Rapidash, but Voslo has to back off. So far, 2-for-0 exchange in favor of SPK as Kahlua goes forward. He can't do enough damage to really fight it as that forward ADC. Voslo critically low. They find 2, and Omega Huntington, you guys went too far for too long.
They did go too far, but the problem for SPK Zero, they definitely could have killed all 3 members right there. But Rapidash Zero, he was trying to get the reset onto Ivor, but I think he completely missed and hit someone else onto Drew Storm, who was still a full health target. So he could not get more depth from below resets for the rest of the fight. If he had that access, he would have been able to shred through the rest of Omega Huntington. But because he messed up on that part, they're going to be able to get out alive, even though they still took down 2.
Yeah, so it was just 2, could have been more, plus a Baron if they found those other picks. But that is still life left for Omega Huntington. They are doing well enough. You know, they're not that far behind. 2k gold at this stage of the game is not much. But out goes the Tidal Wave Budget Stripper, looking to find Fethmas. But honestly, at this point, it's a waste because Ivar coming over the wall, finds the pick like it's nothing. That's 2 ultimates down, as well as your support down. Very questionable decision-making coming out of Budget Stripper.
Easy clap coming in from Ivor. Even gets the Glacial Prison for free, as Voslo thought that he could probably save his support, but Budget Stripper didn't have flash. There's no way he was getting out. He was already charmed, and he already had the follow-up from his other teammate as well. So just hesitant, or not hesitant, just unlucky decision-making coming out from Voslo there. Could have saved the Glacial Prison. Now has to wait for about another... I want to say 30, 40 seconds for that ultimate, and they could fight right here.
Yeah, they're looking to take down Prophet once again. Stasis going out, but can it really stop? No. Still, Glacial Prison, Glacial Tomb, Frozen Tomb. Too much glacial stuff, falling into the same trap. Not going to be enough to save Prophet of Tears.
Yep. Kahlua and Voslo could not step forward. Kahlua and Voslo had already used the Chain of Corruption and Glacial Prison earlier, which is why Omega Huntington knew that they could take that fight confidently, as there would not be any counter engage or disengage coming in other than the Frozen Tomb. And they're going to go for more!
Yeah, they get the hook, but they're not finding the follow-up damage. AB able to take down Budget Stripper. Omega Huntington are pushing forward on this rapid dash! What in the world? He's still going forward, finding kill after kill, make it the Quadra 2. We see 5. Rapidash goes in and gets the Penta kill!
Rapidash Zero coming in with this pipe top. We memed it, Deserux. We thought it was a joke. We thought, what the hell are you doing with this pick? But he's proved us all wrong, and he's making it work with a pentakill to top it all off.
It's just a top lane pike, Rafa. just a top lane Pyke. Let's make fun of it all we want, but at the end of the day, that is a pentakill, and that's a Baron going over to SPK 0.
I don't think it gets any more hype from this, Desterux. I think this is where we just put our mics down and say, all right, we're going to call it a day. We'll come back in 10 minutes, see if SPK close it out, because this is actually insane. The dude has a Frozen Heart, Dustblade, Maw of Malmortius, looking for BF Sword into potentially a Guardian's Angel, or if he's even super manly, a Storm Razor for the extra burst. I mean, like, it just... This shouldn't have worked, Desterux, and somehow it is, and now Omega Huntington, they have to pay the price for it.
Oh, and they are really paying for it at this point. This power play is going to be immense. They got 5 kills off of it. They got a Baron off of it. Now the pressure is theirs to control. The ball is in their court, and we're going to see if SPK 0 can set it up to where they can close this game out.
Oh, and we're reaching that late game critical point for Kluagon. I mean, he's already has the Gwinsu's Rage Blade, the Blade of the Ruin King, the Runon's Hurricane, BF Sword, and the Quicksilver Sash as well. And with Lethal Tempo, I mean, as soon as Varus does not get touched in these fights, he's just going to rip through No New Friends. He's going to rip through Drewstorm. He's going to rip through the entire team. And he doesn't even need to finish them off. He has this 14-3 pentakill Rapidash 0 Pyke that can just clean up the rest of the fights once they get low enough.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Omega, you don't go for the engage. The Baron power play would be too devastating if you lose the next team fight. And the team fight control with all the ultimates up is solely in the hands of SPK 0. You would need immaculate Solar Flare, an immaculate Charm, an immaculate Hook to make a fight work if you're Omega Huntington.
Yeah, and it really has to be on Kluagon, and that is the key for Omega Huntington. They should not opt into these team fights, because at this point, it is just too difficult to weave and dodge and navigate around the Frozen Tomb, the Glacial Prison, the Chain of Corruptions, and the Tidal Wave. But if you can somehow pick off Kluagon before the fight begins, then that's a lot of damage that is taken away from the fight. And the thing about Rapidash 0 right now is that even though he's getting a lot of these resets and that pentakill was really impressive, it all was because Kluagon was not touched in the previous fight. And if he gets the damage off on all these members, along with enough of initial burst from Prophet of Tears, then that's when Rapidash 0 can reset.
Yeah, there goes the Tidal Wave. They found the hook. Forces so much CC out there trying to run away. Drew has to flash away. There goes a double kill. Picked up by Rapidash. They find 2. They're looking to make it 3. No New Friends. Sent to the grave with the triple going over to Rapidash. And there we go. That's what we were talking about. The Baron power play. This could be the end of the game, Rafa.
At this point, Ivor and AB, they don't have enough wave clear to be able to deal with these Baron minions. Rapidash is going to try and stop them.
Oh my goodness. They claim them, but at what cost? Curtain call goes up, but it just might be curtains for Omega Huntington, because that's not going to be enough to defend this attack that's coming out from SPK 0. They're looking to close this one out and start setting up their path to playoffs.
Kluagon getting one more arrow onto AB for good measure. Solar Flare is going to come out, but it's gotta be
looking
over.
Far too late. Kluagon does go down, but there's 3 members in here. SPK 0 are going to take this game 36 minutes in on the back of Rapidash 0.
18-4-5 on this top lane. Pyke, by the way. Oh my god, that... What the actual... I don't even know where to begin, because that is... If we're going to be real here, Desterux, it should have never happened.
Yeah.
But it just... Omega Huntington, they disrespected the power of resets being able to come in through Rapidash 0, and that's one of those things where it's like, well, if you stomped a lane that is going full damage and is super squishy, but you disrespect the fact that because he's super squishy, it's because he has a lot of damage, and you do not pay attention to him when he flanks you, when you're going in for that mid turret. That's where it all started. That's where Rapidash was starting to accelerate back in gold, because he was down in CS against No New Friends. He lost first turret. They technically didn't lose first turret, but they lost pressure from that lane. And at that point, Rapidash Zeros just said, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do anything against this Darius by myself. And Voslo is just a tank. He just brings CC engage. I need burst to be able to get resets off. And so by going to Kluagon and Prophet for Tears, they have the initial burst, or they have the initial damage to start things off. And when they're not touched in fights, they allow Rapidash Zero to get the death from below resets on the rest of the team. And you saw, Deserux, that the one time that Omega Huntington was able to pick off Prophet of Tears and Kluagon before Rapidash Zero was there, as soon as he went in, he was like, crap, I don't really do enough damage by myself to get death from below resets going. I need my mid laner and AD carry to be alive. And so they had to secede the mid lane turret, and they had to secede the rest of the push. But then once they regrouped and just realized, all right, you know what? At this point, they don't have enough disengage to be able to deal with us if we all just massively topple on them. Bone Skewer, Glacial Prison, Frozen Tomb, Tidal Wave, Chain of Corruptions. I mean, we keep talking about these engagement ultis, and then if you, once again, you look at the side of Omega Huntington, all they had was a Solar Flare to really stop things from happening. But you're not going to always land it onto 5 people because they're not always going to be grouped up.
What a way to start off the day, Rafa. That was a shocker. That was absolutely amazing. And fun fact, that's not the last game. We still got more Elder League action to come. So please stay tuned as we get into Blaze Banditos versus Emergent Feeders next, coming right at you. And ladies
Yeah,
and
guys,
gentlemen,
how's it going? Oh, Duster's back. All right, I'm gonna go back. We are ready, by the way.
yeah, thanks.
Yep.
That's, huh. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are, we're back. Elder League week number 7. I'm so thrown off by what just happened right now, but let's get back on track. We're about to get into this matchup between Blaze Banditos and Emergent Feeders. I'm your caster of the day, Desirux. Rafa had to go. Instead, we got Headspace here as his replacement.
What's up, everybody? First time casting here. Let's see how well this goes.
And already these teams are opting to go straight into the draft. No pro draft this time. This is a live draft, so no weird... Well, we're actually more prone for weird shenanigans at this point. Who knows? We started the day with a top lane Pyke.
Man, that top lane Pyke, though, should have not won. Man, that team really disrespected the Pyke top. But enough about that game. We're focusing on this game. And already, I'm really interested in what the bans are currently going for with the Swain and Morgana being banned by Blaze Banditos. I think it's very interesting just because how the current meta is revolving more slowly towards mid-game to late-game skirmishes, so whoever has champions within those type of expertise usually tend to win the game more often.
And it's not too surprising to ban out the Morgana on blue side. Usually, the way these drafts goes, because you get first pick on blue side, you opt into a pretty good rotation, getting 2 picks, and one of those picks is Morgana, who's able to be a little bit more diverse when it comes to the support pool. She just blocks out so many people, so that's going to be banned away, but Graves picked up.
And I think the Graves, picking up the Graves here is very interesting just because you're already revealing the jungle matchup, which could give the red team the ability to counterpick the jungle matchup if they so choose, or try to turn their draft into a different direction, which could be more beneficial for them.
Yeah, but it is pretty hard to counterpick a Graves. It does give an idea that they are going for something a little bit more aggressive towards that early to mid game, but Graves himself, just an expert duelist, Braum, as well as Kled being picked up on the side of Emergent Feeders. And that tells you they want to hit a go button and they want to fight.
And I'm really interested in what Emergent Feeder is going to pick as their AD carry. Recently, what's been popping up within the higher elos, and especially in pro play, is the idea of playing Kai'Sa Braum. The idea of Kai'Sa Braum is being able to stack Braum's consecutive blows, as well as Kai'Sa's Plasma to do a lot of damage, which could really help you win the lane and turns that lane into a kill lane, which a lot of people tend to not know.
And then, meanwhile, Thresh locked in. We're going with the, you heard of the lovers duo, wife steal duo, I suppose. Thresh and Lucian, not really a combo you see too often, but I believe this Lucian was picked up to deny the potential stacking power of those concussive blows you were talking about that Lucian also provides.
Yep, exactly. Both Lucian and Kai'Sa works really well with Braum. Another champion which tends to work with Braum as well is any AD carry, which could do a massive amount of attack speed damage. So for instance, champions like Jinx would also be good as well. So what I'm expecting here, if they want to pinch the AD carry pool, is banning any AD carry which relies on attack speed heavily. Or they're taking it into a different turn with that Rumble ban.
Yeah, which surprises me a little bit. Most likely, I want to say that's targeted towards... No, I am not sure why they're going after the Rumble. The Kled has been locked in. I haven't seen much jungle Kled before. It's assuming both top and mid are taken and banning out Rumble.
I mean, with what's happened today, like, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a Kled jungle.
I suppose so. But meanwhile, on the side of Emergent Feeders, they are focusing towards a little bit of those power picks for both the top and mid lane, which were saved for Blaze Banditos. And just give a heads up, these teams are dead even in their scores right now, and we're looking for the final weeks to make it to playoffs. So they want to secure their playoff spot and be able to get a healthy seed going into it.
Yeah, and this game could potentially be the most important game that both of these teams are playing, considering how tiebreakers work. If you go 1-1 versus the opposite team, then that gives you a tiebreaker game if you so need it. And having that is super important when it comes to playoffs in order for you to get the best seed possible. Of course, Combat Muffin locks in the Jhin, which I tend to not agree with just because Jhin and Braum works counterintuitively. Braum stacking the consecutive blows while Jin is using his auto system, which causes really ineffective ways to stack Brahm's consecutive blows passive.
You know, we are starting to round this off. Even though it doesn't work that well with concussive blows, it does. It's not all about winners by concussive blows stacking. I mean, he's still a great tank that is defensive and provides great engage. So it's not the worst thing to not have a synergistic bot lane, but it does take away from the potential power they could have. Overall, I would like to say this is more of a skill matchup. Lucian does spike a little bit earlier, but Jin spikes harder.
Exactly, but the one counter to Jin is if they have enemy champions, which could lock down Jin super hard, and the Galio with the taunt, Malphites, Unstoppable Force, Dresches, the box, Flay, and his hook, all basically could shut down Jin super hard in late game team fights. So Jin is going to be especially need to be careful during team fights.
And really, to go back into the big picture of this matchup as everything is locked in, Blaze Banditos, they're in a state where they absolutely need this victory because these teams are already very close in skill. Emergent Feeders already are 1 up against Blaze Banditos. Even though they're tied, Emergent Feeders are technically in a state above them by default for having that win. So if Blaze Banditos can tie this up with this matchup, it actually brings it to a tiebreaker if these teams close off on a tie.
Exactly, but looking at these two team comps, starting with Blaze Banditos, I kind of like where they're going with this strat. They got a really strong jungler, which could do super well early game, and not only that, they also have the Lucian Thresh combo, which is super strong, and you got the Galio, who provides a lot of survivability because of his damage reduction ultimate, as well as his taunt, and you have Malphite for that security in the late game. So overall, the blue team has a really strong team fight comp.
But the thing about that composition is there's so much reliance on Civil. Mickey does little, is going to have to do a lot early on, and then Civil is going to be have to be the one to pop off. If they can't take enough care of Civil, you're just a bunch of meat shields with no damage backing you up. So they got to play it very carefully, though still play it aggressively. But now, taking a look over at Emergent Feeder's side, it's still a very teamfight oriented comp.
Exactly, but Emergent Feeder's comp is a little bit more easier to execute just because you have the Gnar Rage Blade bar. As long as you manage that correctly, you could easily get a team fight off. You have the Kled Jungle to be able to use his ultimate easily. You have the Orianna Shockwave. While it is a little bit hard to do it at first, having the Kled will make it much more easier. And you got a Jin Braum, which is a really solid bottom lane combo when going towards the late game. So overall, Emergent Feeders has the easier team comp to execute, but even though it is easy, they still need to prep up correctly by putting wards in the enemy jungle, looking for team fights, and looking for team fights when they have the advantage. Otherwise, if Blaze Banditos has a stronger front line as well as more numbers, they're easily going to win the team fights.
Yeah, well said. Easy to do, hard to set up. But on that note, we are going to look to take a short break as we get through the spectator delay and the loading screen. Let us know in chat who you think is going to win. Will it be hashtag Blazed win or hashtag Feeders win? We will find out soon enough when we return from this break. Stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Ascension Esports Elder League week number 7. Blaze Banditos versus Emergent Feeders is gonna unfortunately go straight to a pause as we get live.
Woo! Let's go, Riot Games.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's not even Riot Games thing. It wouldn't be an amateur league game without, a pause to start us off. Why not?
yep. But I want to talk about the jungler champion path, especially as a Kled jungle looking on Emergent Feeders. Just because Kled jungle isn't usually played as a jungler, therefore we really need to look at his pathing and see where he's going within the jungle to see how well this pick is going to be within the jungle. Because this pick is super reliant on winning the jungle just because of how Kled works with his mechanics. If he gets off his Scarl, he's not going to be able to clear jungle camps really well. So it's very vital that Izzo is always able to maintain Scarl at all points. Otherwise, he won't be able to clear the jungle as fast as Graze, which could punish him greatly if he tries to go for a gank or tries to counter gank in time.
And on that note, we are getting back into the action. No more pauses for us. But yeah, it's a very high-risk jungler to take. I definitely echo your thoughts quite a bit. Taking something as safe as Graves, it's really on Mickey Does Little to just capitalize on the safeness that Graves has when it comes to being in the jungle as well as dueling, and even trying to invade, maybe take Izzo off of that Scarl and make him suffer.
Yep. One thing to note is that typically some junglers will tend to go from red straight into the Scuttle Crab and take 2 of the tiny wolves at their wolf camp and go into blue and then go topside, which is what Graves could have done, but he chooses not to. And the reason why a lot of junglers tend to do this is because it gives the jungler a level 3 power spike, and they can gank top really easily. Of course, the reason why Graves doesn't opt for this is because he has a Malphite as his top laner, so it would not have worked out.
Yeah, and another thing to point out there is you saw that Mickey Does Little bumped into Izzo towards that bot side scuttle. The reason he didn't follow through with that is because if you look at the bot lane, it's more pushed in for the side of Emergent Feeders. If he chooses to take that duel, even though he would most likely win it, he wouldn't win it in time for a response to come out of Emergent. So instead, went for that top side scuttle.
Exactly.
Yeah, still though, game playing through, high stakes for both of these teams, Blaze Banditos as well as Emergent Feeders. And you got to give it to Izzo. He's willing to play something high risk. I mean, we've seen stranger things, especially with the last game. I'm just curious how it's going to work out when he does go for the gank. I can imagine the bear trap on a rope works pretty well for him, but not landing it, I feel like that's the end of your gank right there.
So Kled as a jungler needs to be able to get his level 6 power spike in order for him to make his ganks 10 times easier. Because like you just said before, just using bear trap on a rope and then the gank is just basically done at that point isn't really effective as a gank. Whereas if you have your ultimate and then use bear trap on a rope, you're more successful to get a gank. So you could consider Kled almost like a Nocturne, in which he needs to get his level 6 power spike first before he starts ganking. And that's where Graves could take advantage from. So from levels 1 to 5, Graves should really be able to counter jungle Izzo's topside jungle or bottom side jungle and really look to exploit Kled as jungler until Kled gets level 6, at which point then it turns into a neutral state.
Ooh, and that's exactly what he's doing. Pathing around, looking to try and spot out Izzo. If he doesn't get that, he should be able to get a gank. There is a ward in the river, but he's going to be spotted a little bit late. No pings have gone out, and he's positioning forward, but Mickey does not want to follow through with that gank. Instead, chooses to back off, which does give a little bit of critical information since he didn't go after that gank.
But Sovereign played that so well, having the ward at the topside river. If that ward was not there, he's most likely dead at that point. So well played by him.
And look at Izzo. He's the one going for the counter jungling now with that spot out. As I was saying, if he gets spotted as a jungler and you're not doing anything, expect counter jungling to come in. Izzo's playing it the right way.
Yep. But at the same time, you also have to be questioning Graves on why he decided to go for that gank. Sure, Gnar is pushed up, but at the current state of the game, he should also be realizing that Kled could be at the bottom side jungle just because he already cleared his top side jungle way earlier.
Yeah, now Mickey once again going for that Scuttle Crab on the top side. One of the key things that's happening in this game is Emergent Feeders are pretty much winning the push battle in all lanes. This does give openings for Mickey, but it also makes it hard if he fights Izzo, because the response that can come out of Emergent is absolutely huge. And considering all lanes are being pushed in, all lanes are being bullied, it is a scary situation for the Blaze Banditos as the gank is set up by Mickey Does Little, who looks to take down 38. Izzo on the backside wants to save his teammate. The Clarity Cleanse comes out too early. Shockwave's gonna find 2. Low health for Mickey, trying to run away from this. Izzo wants to find first blood on his counterpart, and he's able to claim it. Hackney looking for redemption. 38 might be able to survive this. Izzo taking punishment, taking damage. Needs Scarl to be able to survive this attempt, but he is going to be able to pick it up. Hackney on the run now. Izzo looking to finish off the job, but here comes Cool Crab saving out his teammate. But still, the story is the same. First blood going over to Emergent Feeders.
That was so close for Emergent Feeders for making that go terribly wrong. But at the same time, we also have to question Blaze Banditos and why they decided to go for that gank. Kled was on the top side jungle at around 4 minutes, so therefore he would be bottom side at around 6 minutes. As a result, by going for that gank and Orianna going towards his Kled, it's super easy for them to really respond to that gank. What could have happened instead, if Graves decided to think about this more in a more contextual point of view, Graves could have instead went to the bottom side jungle, check where Kled was, because Kled could also be counter juggling like we discussed before.
Yeah, good attempt to come out, but doesn't go through. Emergent Feeders going to take the first blood of this game, and at this rate, it's a very slow-paced game, so there's no real clear winner thus far. Both Mickey Does Little and Izzo have been playing quite passively and have only bumped into each other once since. So this is still Blaze Banditos' game to come back from, and especially considering on the bot side, Civil on this Lucian. Ooh, scary little exchange there. They should be okay, because once he gets Blade of the Rune King, he only needs that item to be pretty powerful and be able to duel Combat Muffin.
Yep, but at the current time, based on what's currently happening in the game, Emergent Feeders are super far ahead just because of how their team comp should work. There's no reason why Kled should be this far ahead based on the gold lead, and also being able to not have any jungle interactions versus Graves, and the only interaction that has happened so far has been that level 2 quick meetup. But besides that, Clyde is playing this exceptionally well, and there's a lot of questions that has to be put on Graves on his decision making within this game and how he chose to go to certain places.
I don't even think you can really count out Mickey for this. All lanes are pushing. I think it comes down to the draft. They're forfeiting the early game and hoping to get pretty clean team fights and a pretty good, about 25-minute skirmishing comp. The thing is, forfeiting that early game, it comes down to survival. If they can get through it without giving up much kills and much objectives, they're fine off. But we already saw it's first blood over to Emergent Feeders. If that's a trend that continues, it's all in the hands of them.
Exactly. And Izzo right now is second the Dragon for Ocean, which is super good just because of what they want to do. They want to be in the lanes at all time possible in order to stop Blazing Banditos' power spike of getting their items they need, like we discussed before with the Blade of the Ruin King. So getting the Ocean Drake will help out super well in terms of making them stay in lane and pushing this out stronger.
Yeah, as long as they're out of combat at least.
Yep.
You do.
That's the one caveat.
It's the one little point you have to keep track of. That being said, it's not too big of a deal to have that Drake. Really, it pays off a lot more when you get into the point where you have a poke composition and you can afford to just stay back and not really do anything risky. At this point of the game, it is going to be a very slow fought thing.
And something that we should be pointing out is basically how the bottom side jungle for Blazing Banditos is covered with 2 control wards. And while that is great and all, it's not really helping you accomplish your goals of winning the game. Sure, both comps are basically team fights, but if you're a team fighting comp that relies more on the early game in order to give you a strong sustainment into late, having those defense control wards isn't really helping you with your win condition. What they should be doing is that Grace...
Out goes the unstoppable force. They're looking to take down Sovereign, who has to flash away, but clap to his grave. Coach Bandito evens up the score to 1-1.
Ooh, and Sovereign basically disrespected Malphite's unstoppable force, which is really bad. But going back to what we discussed about before, if...
Oh no, we can't go back to it because there's a shockwave going out. Hackney critically low, gets the knock up onto 38. It will take 3 more tower shots for that to be successful. So 38 gonna walk away with the kill.
Okay, or Emergent Feeders will basically say, hey, Shoutcaster, you're not needed, which is fine and all. But going back to what I talked about before, what Graves should be doing is that Graves should be providing a lot of cover for Galio, shoving it the mid wave. After that, bringing those control wards to the river, get the control of the river, and look to get neutral objectives to push in mid, and then get deep wards. Otherwise, it's going to be super hard for Blazing Banditos to get wards in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, but they're not even in a state where they really want to push too far. At this point, the wards, yeah, they should be deep in the jungle, but the whole point of those wards is just to make sure you know where Izzo is and keep him on check. And now Izzo and Mickey might get into a little fight. Out goes the bear trap on a rope. Does not land it, though. Still, Cool Crab is here. Charge goes out, but is blocked by Cool Crab. And they're looking to set their sights on the Izzo, who wants to flash over the wall. It's not going to happen because Civil is going to slay him.
Ooh, Civil and the Cool Crab just had priority down bot more compared to Combat Muffet and Fish, which resulted in Izzo's death.
And overall, good rotation to come out. This game going even with the kills, though the gold farm heavily in favor of Emergent Feeders. A lot of this is due to mid lane, but Blaze Banditos, they want to change that gold. They want to put the tempo in their hands as they set their sights on this bot lane first blood tower.
I really like what Combat Muffet tried to do there by ulting the minion wave in order to stop the tower from being attacked, and really good clarity on Combat Muffin to realize that, but also at the same time, really good job on the Cool Crab to recognize that and stop the bullets from the curtain call.
Stop it with your face. Floss. Oh, out goes the shockwave. Gonna land on the Civil. Civil is able to dodge out. 38 in a vulnerable state. Backup is coming, and all 5 members of Blaze Banditos are here, and they delete 38 off the map.
Oh, that's really feels bad for Orianna using her cleanse. popping or cleanser wasn't really the right call there, just because even though you would be able to cleanse out the CC that came out to you, you still had the Galio ultimate, which would result in your death, plus the TP as well. So that really wasn't needed from Orianna, which could be very important if she gets caught out again without her cleanse.
And that is first brick going over to the Blaze Banditos. 233 gold a pop. Some of that going on Civil as well as Mickey Does Little. Now it's really in their court to start trying to control this game. Meanwhile, Sovereign getting into a fight with Coach Bandito, who no longer has the unstoppable force, but does have a lot of damage he can bring in. There's no flash for Sovereign. Sovereign on the run. One more auto should do it, and he finds it.
Oh, yeah, that just feels bad, man, at that point. Or being 0-2-0 and having almost relatively the same goal as Malphite, which is even more feels bad for the Malphite as a whole, which just goes to show you how well Emergent feeders are playing this. But while that fight was happening, we could see that Izzo was going for the Rift Herald, which is super huge for their team comp, just because it nullifies one of the win conditions from Emergent. My apologies, from Blaze Bandito's team comp.
Yeah, but you do got to give it to Sovereign, though. Even though he sacrificed his life for a tower. So giving up his life for a tower is not the biggest deal. That's part of why they're so even. He got solo local gold on that tower.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that, and also he was already one death down, so he would give less shutdown.
The fight gonna break out, as well as the charge coming through. Shockwave lands on the 2. Charge gonna follow it up beautifully as Hackney the first to fall in this fight. Curtain call opens up. It's curtains for Mickey Does Little as the Cool Crab walks away after watching his teammates get slaughtered. But Civil on the backside wants to make a play onto 38. Coach Bandito instead gonna find it with the unstoppable force. That's a killing spree for Coach Bandito. Combat Muffin looks to be the next in his sights, the next victim. Who's next? It will be in the mid lane, actually. Civil goes down. There's bodies dropping all over the place. Coach Bandito is now on the run. He didn't claim the kill onto Combat Muffin. Now Cool Crab on the run from Izzo. Bear Trap on a rope. Gonna do the job. Coach Bandito trying to get away from Sovereign, who's able to get the stun. Does have the Gnar ultimate. Slams him against the wall. Backup is here. Izzo gonna finish off this job. Gonna finish off this fiesta of a fight. Snared up, and still Coach Bandito able to get out. And look at the respawns. Mickey and Hackney are both back up after dying earlier in this fight. It is an absolute fiesta. Mickey going on to Sovereign. Sovereign has gone out too far, has to burn his flash to be able to get away from this one, and that's gonna bring a well-needed close to this extended team fight.
It's the LPL, everybody. Welcome. Here's your tickets. There's your tickets. Everybody gets a free ticket. No, that team fight was really hectic from both teams, and there's a lot to cover within that time period. But the biggest thing to point out is, first of all, from Emergent Feeders, that shockwave in the beginning to catch out both Graves and Dredge was so crucial, especially with Kleb, Braum, and Jin following that up. But at the same time, what the heck did Coach Bandito eat for breakfast? Because, God, he was...
We're not done just yet. Shockwave goes out. Cool Crab critically low. Coach Bandito gonna run away from this one. Bear Trap on a rope pulls him forward, but he goes even more forward with the unstoppable force. He's not gonna be able to live for much longer, as he's gonna be the first one to drop. And now it's 1-for-1 exchange thus far. Civil is trying to put on a click with this one. Sovereign looks like he's gonna fall once again as end of the line finds the end of the line for Sovereign. But 38, you're going too far forward, friend. What are you doing? You're going to get a kill, actually. Cool Crab wants to finish the job. Civil didn't have his priorities straight. Mickey Does Little, drops some. Combat Muffin is here, but finds the kill, gets out. Mickey Does Little, scores the triple.
Damn, are we in the LPL, Detrix? Because I really feel like we're in the LPL for some reason.
Oh, this is fight after fight, and they're long, long fights.
I thought I signed up for NA, not China. Man. No, but looking at that team fight, the biggest issue that I saw in my personal opinion is, honestly, look at the wards from Blazing Banditos. There's almost no wards in the enemy jungle to really see when he went in. Sure, it's good that Coach Bandito got those 2 people with his unstoppable force, but at the same time, he also got caught out by not knowing where he was. If Coach Bandito knew that people were going to be there via wards from their side, he probably would have not made that unstoppable force play.
So far so good for Emergent Feeders. Even though it's a very scattered fight, they're still ahead at the end of the day. Rift Herald does go out, but it's not going to find anything. Quite a waste of a Rift Herald. And it does look like we're going to go back into that ARAM as the team start posturing up to fight over mid lane towers.
Something to note is that Coach Banditos' TP is going to be up pretty soon. So if they really wanted to, they could TP from the top side of the red jungle from Emergent Feeders and really look to get a TP flank off via Coach Banditos' Unstoppable Force if that's what they want to do.
Still, this aggression coming out from Emergent Feeders is quite a lot for Mickey to deal with. He has been doing so far so good in this game, but the shockwaves followed with the combos have been absolutely massive for Emergent Feeders. And they're really getting more out of these fights at the end of the day, but starting to pile up as 5 members, both teams. Attention is on, curtain call, gonna open up. Coach Bandito taking the brunt of those shots. That's gonna be the 4th shot landing on Coach Bandito. That's 1 ultimate down, not a critical one. The shockwave still up, as well as the glacial fissure. And Blaze Banditos, Emergent Feeders, they're at a very, very tense stalemate.
But at the same time, what Coach Bandito could do is just recall, get his items, TP, and look to get a flank off if they ever decide to push in into Blazing Bandito's territory, which is possibly an opening that they're probably looking for at the current moment, or they're probably looking to get their wards down in order to not get flanked by them.
Yeah, it's still kind of risky to follow through with this. Both ADCs are very critical of their team comp's success once the fight does break through. Shockwave starts it off, Combat Muffin could find a lot of follow-up damage to win the fight afterwards. Same thing goes over the side of Blaze Banditos, who are looking to take the fight right now. Mickey does a little posturing forward. Out goes the charge. Coach Bandito's here. He finds the double unstoppable force and finds a double kill on top of that. Izzo running away as the hero's entrance finds its mark. Able to protect his teammates. Izzo can't survive much longer. Drops at the hands of Coach Bandito. And here is Blazing Banditos as they burn through the mid lane.
What was the Emergent Feeders thinking about being at that place? Sure, the idea is good pushing in, but at the same time, they have a ward on the bottom side river.
No.
And it's not over yet.
Yeah, Combat Muffin, wrong place, wrong time, sentenced to death at the hands of Cool Crab. And this is going to be a massive push at this point. Blaze Banditos, they've been searching for that critical breaking point, and it seems they found it.
Man, but Combat Muffin disrespecting the power of the Dresh. But at the same time, what we talked about before, they saw Malphite coming in through that control ward there. They know that what was going to happen. They should have just went towards the top side of the river in order to not get flanked by that.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. At the end of the day, it's Blaze Banditos taking down 2 towers and winning out on the team fight 4-0. Blaze Banditos holding about a 2K advantage thus far, 1.7K actually. And you got to give it to them. Even though they've been struggling with Emergent Feeders, they're still finding those fights, and a lot of that is on the back of Coach Bandito's unstoppable forces.
Yep, but something to note is that as we slowly turn into the 22 minute into the game, both teams right now relatively have the same amount of gold. And by same amount of gold, the amount of gold that you need in order to have a successful team fighting comp. Typically, you want to have 2k gold ahead, 2k gold behind, or just about even when you're playing a team fighting comp. Now, of course, since both teams are sort of playing a team fighting comp, at the current state of the game, both teams are doing relatively well in terms of how much gold they accumulated. But if one team really wants to increase that really more, they should really take a really big risky call and go big or go home. Like this Baron, for example.
Yeah, Baron being called 38. Under attack, teammates are here. Triple unstoppable force. They find 38 once again. Izzo on the run. You can't escape Coach Bandito. Fitch has to go over the wall after his allies were slaughtered. It looks like Civil wants him next, but he gets under the tower just in time. Sovereign can't do anything at this point. Just Blaze Banditos. They have control of this game. They have control of the map.
And something that we need to point out is Combat Muffin's far side trinket. They could have used it, and also not only that, they probably could have invested in another one to make sure that a pick like that would not happen.
I know the big issue right there was it was a risky Baron call, but they saw it through and they knew exactly where 3-8 was going to be. And because of that, the death sentence ever so clean. Coach Bandito's unstoppable forces have been perfect. It's looking good for Blaze Banditos as they look for vengeance onto Emergent's feeders.
And at the same time, we should slowly start to look at the item builds where, never mind, that Claydol is more of a priority.
More of a way to get to the dragon. Not really looking to fight, just wants to get a dragon kill, some consolation prize at last.
Hey, consolation prize better than no prize.
Now you get the Baron. Don't worry. We'll get dragon. Baron's enough for you. But yeah, now this game, these teams separated by 5k gold in favor of Blaze Banditos. They've been on a roll thus far, and Civil is getting towards that critical point. He's already pretty strong as is, but now having that Black Cleaver and Blade the Rune King, he's going to be able to output quite a bit of damage.
Yep, and there's something to note about Coach's Bandito's build. He has a Iceport Gauntlet, which is causing a lot of issues for Orianna, Gnar, and even Jhin to kite in, which is what they want in their team since they have a lot of burst. By applying all those slows, it gives Blaze Banditos such an easy time to follow up with their engage, whereas it'd be a little bit harder than normal. So really good insight on Coach Bandito getting the Iceport Gauntlet this game.
And Emergent Fader's doing the wise thing right here. You forfeit that tower. On a Baron power play, there's no way to defend this, especially when you're at this heavy of a deficit. Blaze Banditos push forward. You give out any inner towers you have. Only defend the inhibitors. Turtle in the base until that buff is off or until you find the opportune moment. But pushing forward, Blaze Banditos. They find Izzo. Izzo trying to run away from this one. He's going to be able to escape forward now. It's up before Lance onto 2. Hero's entrance going to come in. Lance doesn't find much, but look at the Blaze Banditos. Find member after member of Emergent Feeders. They find their mark. They make it look so easy. Izzo on the run. Only 3-8 remains as well as his jungler, and an inhibitor going down. Blaze Banditos are going to look to close it right here, right now. Mickey does little, can't find the kill after flashing forward, but that is a Nexus tower down. We're gonna make it to this Baron power play. Too powerful. Izzo goes in, wants Coach Bandito, trying to pick up the kill. They're trying to defend their base, but it's not looking too good for them thus far. They are getting the damage in, but look at the Nexus get critically low. 38 able to try and find a kill. He gets one, and the Nexus will be able to survive. There's only Cool Crab left, and he's not going to be able to take it down. No, he does! And what an aggressive push to come out of the Blaze Banditos as they find revenge against Emergent Feeders.
That is so huge for Blaze Banditos getting that tiebreaker scenario if it does happen. But my ward, that was a really gutsy call, and having the clarity to go for it, even though they had the Baron power play, honestly, is ballsy, but at the situation they were in, they could really afford it.
That was insane, my dude. What a hell of a way to close it out. They played they played a slow game. You know, it's a high stakes matchup, but whew, what in the world? When it did explode, it exploded with quite a lot of passion.
Yeah, and it's what we discussed about earlier within the cast as well. The ability to basically take a big risk and understanding your win conditions and your power spike. Blazing Banditos had a stronger power spike when they started that Baron, which is a really smart call for them to even start. But even better call was for them to just finish it and look to end the game.
Yeah, so that means Blaze Banditos, they take that position above Emergent Feeders. And if they do tie up with them again, right before playoffs, that will be a tiebreaker matchup. But that's besides the point. 5th place locked in for Blaze Banditos. Good job to them. Slow matchup, great crescendo. Nothing more you could ask for.
Exactly. And on the bright side, we have to give some props to Emergent Feeders. They did a very unconventional pick, which could always work from time to time, especially what happened last game. So, good, really good idea from Emergent Feeders. It was just unfortunate that just didn't work this time.
Yeah, and that is going to do it for the day. overall, that was a day of League of Legends. Pretty straightforward. If you guys missed the stream earlier, we had Omega Huntington versus SPK 0 with SPK pulling out the Pike top and absolutely dominating with it. And then right now we just had the Blaze Banditos versus Emergent Feeders, and as you can see, Blaze Banditos coming out successful in a match that was for revenge. And that will do it for today. Thank you guys for joining us here at Ascension Esports. I have been Desirux. This is my co-caster Headspace, and a shout out to Rafa as well. And we hope you have a great night.
Good night, everybody.